Yo, what is up, guys? This is Brick Joe here, and today I thought we'd talk about the news announcement that Bricklink will be producing rejected Lego Ideas projects going into 2021. So I think a lot of interesting things to talk about here. First of all, if you guys remember, it's about 2 years ago now. If you guys remember the Bricklink A-Fall Designer Program, this is sort of what my first connection to at least this news was that I would say early 2019 they had the contest. They passed a bunch of sets to get made into what they called these Bricklink A-Fall Designer Program sets, and they were complete sets. There were new pieces, and it was sort of sponsored by Lego with the 60th anniversary going on, and they were endorsed, I would say, by Lego. However, it wasn't in the original Lego packaging. It wasn't what I would consider a Lego set, and what most people would consider Lego sets, and what I would say brick set, everything like that would consider Lego sets. So my first question, I would say, going into this news is, will these be official Lego sets being released with the Lego boxes and Lego stores and stuff like that? Or will it be more of a fall designer program thing where you would pre-order the set you want, and they basically fulfill the set requirements with the pieces and things like that, and provide you a sort of box and instruction manual. However, not with the normal Lego packaging. Bricks, any thoughts on, I would say, that sort of initial reaction there?
Yeah, I think it's going to be similar to the AFL designer program. I'd be really surprised if the way they do this is that it's an official Lego set and then we're just voting on a new official Lego set. In my opinion, it would make sense for Lego to hold that voting itself, maybe on LegoIdeas.com. We've done the voting for the Brickheads, we've done the voting for the UCS set, and in my opinion, I think they'd have a voting something similar to that if they were to bring back an Ideas project. And the way that this information was released, with the headline on Bricklink.com, not so much on Lego.com, I think we can expect this to be similar to that designer program. Although I do think this is a really cool opportunity, looking at that other Bricklink designer program the past year. It was an interesting idea, and some of the sets kind of caught my eye, although none of them were interesting enough for me to purchase the item. But there was really cool sets, and they weren't skimping out on pieces either. I think that's something cool to look at here, too. We're not going to be looking at sets maybe just with a couple hundred pieces. There could be a set in here with almost 2,000 pieces or something like that.
Yeah, and of course, with Lego acquiring Bricklink, we could see even more, I would say, of sort of that Lego endorsement on the box with the sets and the promotion of these sets as well. One thing, too, I think probably is a motivator for Lego and Bricklink to be doing this is that we've just seen so many idea sets come through, and with only, maybe one or two, I would say two, around every single review getting approved, there's so many sets achieving that $10,000 vote goal, and I think there's sort of that, do we increase the number of votes needed? I think probably not. I think this is probably a good way to do it if they sort of continue with this, and I believe that this will sort of maybe ease some people's, I would say, sort of discomfort with all these sets going into review and such a little chance of, some of these sets and whatnot. I would say the second most important point of this thing is that obviously anything with intellectual property, for example, like Lego SpongeBob, things like that, anything with a licensing issue won't be made in this program. So for me personally, that takes out a lot of the sets that I would like to have seen in a Lego Ideas form. Obviously, it makes sense, but I don't know about how you feel about that. But a lot of the sets that I was looking forward to potentially getting approved are licenses and themes that would require that intellectual property.
Right, I couldn't agree more. Most of the sets that I look forward to in LEGO Ideas are new themes, new ideas similar to that. But, if you take a look at some of the ideas programs that haven't made it through, such as maybe like the bowling alley. I thought the bowling alley is one of the coolest ideas projects we've seen yet, and that didn't get made a set. So some things like that are very exciting to me for them to become a possible set. But, of course, there's some things like I've been hoping for that Krusty Krab SpongeBob for forever, and this is still not an opportunity where that's going to be able to happen. But, I still think this is a neat opportunity where there may be some sets that, some of them I even forget about, but, some of the modular style ones and things like that, you never know, that may be able to become a set because Lego seems kind of resist that whole, we're not making modulars from Ideas program, but hey, maybe in this, there could be a cool modular.
Yeah, one of the things that I'm looking forward to in a potential set is some of these sets with these sort of, I would say, sort of kinetic functions where it's sort of almost an optical illusion. For example, there's like the person sort of pushing this boulder. It kind of looks like he's actually pushing it. There's been a lot of different cool, I would say, mocks around this sort of idea that haven't really got made into actual sets, and I'd be interested to see those in a more sort of refined form that I could potentially pick up and I believe the cost for those would be fairly manageable as well. In addition, I think another notable one that people were really expecting them to make just based on the feasibility of it was Small Yellow, if you guys know, obviously based on the famous artist by Nathan. This was sort of a mini version of that, and I think a lot of people thought that this would be an easy in. This has been a model that's been, in a lot of like the Lego books you can get at like Barnes and Noble and things like that. Has been sort of touted as like a very iconic, I would say, Lego art piece. And surprisingly, it didn't get passed. It's very simple, I would think, to make that. But I think people are maybe hoping that that'll be a set as well. Mm-hmm. But like you said, I think there could be some really cool potentials. I would have to go back and look specifically, but I think, yeah, you're right. The bowling alley does kind of come to mind as one potentially being very interesting and seeing how that's going to look. But I guess we'll have to wait and see, especially how this sort of just plays out into 2021, how they'll go about choosing the sets, which sets they will end up choosing, how many they'll end up doing. Will this be sort of a one wave and done? Will this be continuous? Still a lot of unknown answers, but again, I think for any Lego collector, this is exciting news. It can only be beneficial to you if you missed out on these sets, right, and can't hurt you.
Yeah, I agree. Thanks for watching, guys. This is Brick Duo signing out.